Mentor, businessman, philanthropist, former TV dragon, W. Brett Wilson is here. He says, if you want to follow in his footsteps, never be afraid to fail, read up on cowboy ethics, and hire someone from Saskatchewan. And there's more to it than that.
Sure.
Because you've got the civil engineering degree and lots of education, good parenting.
And I had a lot of great partners along the way. And I'll certainly give credit to my first partner, which was now my ex-wife. I mean, we may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, but as a wife and a mother, she did a yeoman's job.
And you still follow your passion, I suspect. No matter what the critics say, you still follow your passion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and again, sometimes I make mistakes, but I'm not afraid of making mistakes. You know, there was a time, we as Canadians, or as a society, still shame people who've made mistakes. That it's headlines or, about the screw-ups, as opposed to, what did they learn from this experience? I mean, I think our political world would run so much faster if we stopped worrying about the pettiness and got on with the big picture. Where do we want this country to be in 5 and 10 and 15 years, instead of arguing over how much the Prime Minister spent shipping his car for safety reasons to India? We spend half an hour on that, we spend no time on where we're going to be in 20 years. And the same thing happens in provincial politics. Drives me nuts. But it goes back to not being afraid.
Well, and in American politics, as we just saw,
The
and
$6 billion fiasco.
No kidding. And Donald Trump says something like, boy, irrelevant. He's a mischief maker. Trump got more money than probably you will see in your lifetime.
Where he was left short was on the brains department, but he's done a great job in terms
He says
of...
candidly.
I have trouble with the guy. He's got a following, but taking the prime minister, or the premier, or the president rather, to task over his birth certificate and stuff like that, grandstanding and showmanship serving no purpose.
And I'm sure he's thinking about his legacy, and I have no idea what it will be, and it's so not about the hair. So when did you get to the conclusion that each of one is perfect in our own way, no matter who we are, how we operate? I mean, unless we're a serial killer or something, that we're pretty much perfect. By our very presence, we're just okay.
We are, but humans. And the journey that we have is relatively short. And I think if we don't focus on fun and mutual respect and some basic life principles, I happen to think that we in society don't recognize the fact that people each deserve dignity. If we start with that core fundamental building block of dignity, whether it's in the third world or the way I treat people that I'm doing business with, dignity is the starting point.
When I look at the people on the back of this book who have endorsed the book, I don't know if you got them to do it.
Absolutely.
I know the dog is licking your face, so that's a good sign. But you've got Bubbles, Michael Smith from
Trailer Park
Boys, Gene Simmons, Shannon Tweed.
I met Shannon Tweed on Twitter through her family, who said he's doing a bunch of work in Saskatchewan. They all live in Saskatchewan.
Right.
They told her she should follow me. And so I noticed this Shannon Lee Tweed, and I'm going, I think I remember her. Didn't we date in 1984?
Did you?
Not exactly.
Dan Aykroyd. That crystal vodka.
Yep.
It's vodka, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
not tequila.
Well, he does
no, it's
Patron
vodka.
tequila and Crystal Head vodka. Yeah.
Okay, he does, but he also does, yes, he does that Crystal Head vodka.
Yeah,
I
Crystal
know.
Head vodka
But
is
then he
straight.
did tequila, so he must be a bit of a drinker.
He also has his own line of wine. So, no, he's a big boy.
Funny boy.
I think he could, he's absolutely hilarious.
So why these people? There's a military general. Why them to endorse this?
To represent the cross-section of what my life has been. I mean, some people have already said they're going to find my book in the comedy section, given that my life is such a, as one of my best friends said, it's a joke. But Bubbles represents one extreme, and at the bottom, I can't tell you how proud I was to have General Natinchuk step up and say, I believe in the work this guy is doing.
And where did you meet him?
Over the years, doing military work, in fact, I did a large fundraiser right here in Vancouver about a year and a half ago called Operation Western Front, one of the largest galas ever run here, and Natinchuk was a key part of that. So I've been to Afghanistan, I've served on the front lines, I've been in the forward operating bases, serving Thanksgiving dinner with Natinchuk on one side and Peter MacKay on the other. Probably one of my proudest and most defining moments.
I'm sure. Who taught you to be philanthropic?
I absorbed that thought process from my parents. I watched them without realizing they were what most communities would beg for in terms of classic community-minded people. I didn't know it at the time. I thought everybody's parents, when they came home, made a few phone calls or went door to door for the Heart and Stroke Fund, or my mom swam in a swimathon. She couldn't swim. I mean, just raising money in ways that...
This is good. She couldn't swim. She's in the swimathon?
She put on a life jacket. Nobody knew that she would do it.
See?
And she swam 40 laps at a time when minimum wage was $1, and she was sponsored by some people for $1 a lap.
I love that story.
Yeah, no, she was a
That is
character.
in the book, and it's a great story, and she must have been a character.
She was...
Still with us?
We lost her 25 years ago to cancer.
Thought, because you said in here, I miss you, Mom.
Yeah, no, we lost actually a bit of a tragedy in the family. My mom and her mom, my grandmother, died the same day, same hour, same hospital. Grandma died of old age, and Mom was dying of cancer.
So who props you up when that happens? What props you up? Something like that happens. Who do you go to?
Well, for sure at that time it was my father. He was the rock that kind of tried to hold the family together at that time. You know, we were told Mom had 6 months to live, and it turned out it was 6 weeks. So, I mean, every family goes through similar tragedies and challenges, and family's really the essence of who's generally there for you. You've always got friends, but family. And that's why I speak candidly about the value of family to me.
And your mom being a prairie girl.
Oh, very much.
I suspect would
Well,
say,
and
take
she
it or
was-
leave it, kid.
She was a social worker
Get
as
on
well,
with it.
and very much. She would have. Nobody would have had more fun at her funeral than her.
Really?
Oh yeah, she was a character.
A sinker, too. I like that. I'm a sinker. I'm not much of a swimmer. If I ever go on a swimathon, I'm going to do that. What about the whole idea that nice guys finish last? In business,
There's
in life.
You know, you hear that, but it's an excuse for those who are being rude and tough and nickel and diming their friends as an explanation of why they're treating people the way they are. You know, there was a line in the movie Aristotle. Aristotle, Onassis, and Jackie Kennedy were speaking, and Jackie asked her husband, "How much is enough?" And he took out the cigar, put it on the table, and looked at her and said, more is enough. And you know, I celebrated that. 25 years ago when I saw that, I thought, wow, I love the way this guy's
Right.
approaching life.
Sure.
And today I look back at that and think it was probably the most pathetic comment that I've ever heard out of a businessman's mouth. More is enough. The single-minded pursuit to the exclusion of all others. The collateral damage is huge. He lost Jackie. We let our families pay the price sometimes of building this pedestal of wealth that we pursue.
Well, less is more is a wonderful philosophy.
Oh, it's feeling good. I'm not there yet, but I'm aiming. I know
Still
where
going
I'm
to
going.
buy one of those paintings, are you? You're probably collecting a few group of 7 and
No,
on and
I
on?
collect
No?
exclusively
Exclusive Western?
Saskatchewan art.
Really?
Either they painted the bulk of their career in Saskatchewan or they're from Saskatchewan. So they have to be there to qualify. And there's quite a few pieces in this collection now.
So Saskatchewan has a big part of your heart.
Oh yeah, it's the homeland.
Now, when you auditioned for Dragon's Den, I think one of the auditioners said to you, "You're just not mean enough."
And I said to them at the time, if mean means being, well, to be blunt, to be a prick, I don't want to be on the show. But if mean means being tough when you need to be tough, check with some of my business partners. I can put my foot down when I need to, but I can do it with a smile. You don't have to kick someone when they're down.
So success to you is today,
Very much measured by the size of the smile.
rather than the size of the wallet.
The wallet's interesting. No, it's easy for a cynic to say. That's easy for someone with wealth to say.
Exactly.
Absolutely. But my real message is for those who are in the single-minded pursuit of wealth, to make sure that as they're building wealth, that they're not losing the relationships that are going to be there for them in the long run.
Well, as you know, an unexamined life is not worth living. So many people don't take time to reflect. We're just too busy.
Well, I heard a psychiatrist say the other day, we don't take time to be bored. And I thought, what do they mean by that? And the comment was that when you're bored is when you do your most introspective thinking. Because we allow social media and we allow other people to impinge on us constantly, whether it's texts or emails or this whole world of social media. And so we're bombarded by what's in the instant and now. We're not stopping to think about what's tomorrow and the day after.
Right. We're not sitting on Walden's Pond.
No, and we
Not
need
very
that.
often. So where do you go when you want to get away? Do you go north? Do you go back to Saskatchewan? You go to the lake? You go to the canola field?
A place called Windermere, BC.
Really?
I have a home, a cabin there, and it is a great place of solace. It's got wonderful energy, and I intend to spend a lot more of my time, frankly, in Windermere over the next coming years than any other place in the world.
Are you a golfer?
I love golfing.
Some great golf up there.
I play 6 rounds a year, sometimes 12, but it's a small, it's
So,
a range.
Did you say you're a great golfer at 6 rounds a
No,
year?
no.
You
I
just
love
like the game.
golfing, absolutely. But I'll go out for play. I'll play 9 holes in the morning. There's lots of people who say that's not a round.
Why not?
All right, it's a half a round. I don't care, but I enjoy it, and I can do it in an hour and a half.
But it takes you're right. A scratch golfer would say to you, that's not golf, and it's
That's
all
okay.
about the competition and whatever. Who cares?
To me, it's a game. And I also really love walking this one particular course up there. So I've got my own course.
Right.
And I actually play 10 holes because of the way it's laid out. I get on to hole number 9 before the first people are around.
Right.
Anyway, that's my morning start.
And you learn a lot about others who
Oh,
you
yeah.
play golf with. Have you noticed?
Oh, yeah. No, people's style on a golf course is very much indicative of the way they parent and the way they partner.
No kidding. The essays in here, essays about kites and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
By-
I think they were called riffs, but they're
Riffs.
essays, yeah.
They're essays in a
Yeah,
sense
very
by
much so.
one
Aretha Van Herk.
Aretha Van Herk, who is
Yeah.
a public intellectual, a novelist,
She is
maverick.
the antithesis of me in terms of being an intellectual with a PhD probably in English, and here I am, an engineer, struggling with the use of grammar and commas and punctuation. And I ran into her at a social event one night, and I was moved by the way she wrote a story about a picture that was depicting Calgary 100 years ago. I was moved. I was emotional reading her version of what could be there. And I told her that, and she said, give me some pictures, I'll do some of you. And that was what built into us ultimately having these 11 pictures that are in the book with her, with no guidance from me in any way, shape, or form, writing a story about what that picture might mean.
What's something no one knows about you? I know it's a terrible question to ask anybody, but
No, I don't mind that. I'm 99% sure it's not in the book, but I collect antique horse-drawn carriages.
really?
Yeah. Kind of an odd add-on to the things I do, but we've got about 150 carriages, sleighs, hearses, a little of everything. We discovered about 20 years ago that these things were being taken by American collectors back out of Canada into the US because there was no one really accumulating. So I buy, my team. I have a curator and someone who's doing all the archival work and preservation work. And we've got this little collection hiding somewhere in small town Alberta.
Well, who knew? And the horses that pull a horse-drawn carriage, is a big percheron or something?
Well, it could be everything, because
could
there
be
was
anything.
quarter horses or smaller, light-boned horses for sure hauled some of the. I mean, these are very refined. These were the Cadillacs of their day, made by P.T. Laguerre and Ledoux, and there's some really cool antique stuff hiding
Right.
in
So
there.
see, your money gives you fun and freedom, too. Very important.
Well, ultimately, I want that collection. It was about protecting Canadian heritage. I'm pretty proud of being a
Sure.
Canadian, and that collection will either live in Ottawa or at one of the great collecting museums of
great.
Western Canada, because it'll be on display probably in the next 10 years. We've got a lot of work still to do.
And I suppose the Saskatchewan Art Gallery is waiting for you to pass on, so you'll give them all those paintings.
There's a few people
Perhaps.
wondering where some of that'll go.
I bet. How nice to meet you.
No, my pleasure. Thank you for taking
mine.
the time, Fanny.
What's the W for?
William, not
William Brett.
not Winthorpe.
No.
Just Wood. A few people
Okay.
have come up with Winthorpe. But
Winthorpe, William, Brett, Wilson, redefining, still making mistakes, redefining success. Remember, you can join me on Twitter at Fanny Kiefer or catch our conversations on YouTube. There will be many more Success Riddle guests to come. Till then, thanks for watching Shaw TV and being with us today.